Beneath the quiet surface of Oak Island's North Swamp, something has awakened. For centuries, this part of the island was dismissed as nothing more than wet ground, a patch of mud, reeds, and stagnant water. Generations of explorers, hunters, and treasure seekers walked past it, believing the real secrets of Oak Island lay elsewhere. But now, after decades of mystery, new evidence suggests that the greatest secret of all was hiding right here, beneath the swamp itself. What began as another routine scan has turned into one of the most mysterious and possibly world-changing discoveries in the history of Oak Island. When Rick and Marty Legina first turned their attention to the North Swamp, even their own team doubted there would be much to find. The ground was too soft, the conditions too harsh, and the equipment too fragile to dig through layers of mud and water. But Rick had a feeling. He had always believed that the swamp was more than it had appeared to be. Over the years, odd stories had emerged, strange metallic noises, sudden drops in temperature, and even the occasional smell of something like burning metal drifting through the air. For years, these signs were ignored, chalked up to coincidence. But now, with new technology at their disposal, Rick and Marty were ready to put those old doubts to rest. They brought in ground-penetrating radar, or GPR, a tool capable of scanning the layers beneath the surface without disturbing the soil. As soon as the radar began to move across the swamp, the images appearing on the monitor stunned everyone. At first, it showed uneven layers of soil and rock, normal patterns expected in natural ground. But then something sharp, clean, and rectangular appeared, a perfect shape buried deep below the mud. It was too symmetrical, too straight to be the work of nature. The radar picked up strong reflections, indicating the presence of metal, and deeper still, hollow spaces, tunnels that ran in straight lines, almost like hallways. The team stared in disbelief. Nature doesn't make rectangles. It doesn't make tunnels that connect with precision. Someone or something had built this. As the scans continued, the image became clearer. Beneath the swamp lay what appeared to be a solid structure, possibly made of stone or metal, surrounded by walls that seemed intentionally reinforced. The tunnels extended from its corners, stretching outward like the arms of a forgotten machine. It looked like an underground vault, a chamber, or perhaps something far more complex. When Rick saw the full diagram, his first words were, "This is not natural. Someone wanted this hidden." The team's excitement was quickly mixed with unease. The deeper they scanned, the stranger the readings became. Metallic echoes, magnetic interference, and even sudden power fluctuations started to occur around the radar equipment. Batteries drained faster than usual. Cameras glitched. At one point, a worker reported that his compass began spinning uncontrollably. The swamp, once lifeless, now seemed to pulse with energy. It was as if something buried beneath was reacting to their presence. Word spread quickly among the crew, and soon everyone on the island was talking about what might be hidden down there. Some believed it was a secret vault built by the Knights Templar, who were said to have fled across the Atlantic centuries ago with treasure and holy relics. Others whispered darker theories, that the swamp might be covering something ancient and powerful, perhaps even a technology from a time long before recorded history. What no one expected was how serious things would soon become. When Discovery Channel began filming the excavation, everything appeared normal at first. The crew set up their cameras, the machines were moved into position, and the digging began. But just when the excavation reached the spot shown in the radar scans, something unexpected happened. The cameras suddenly stopped recording. Crew members reported that they were asked to step away from the site. Heated discussions broke out between the producers and the team. Within minutes, filming was shut down completely. Later, when the episode aired, that entire section of the dig was missing, replaced by unrelated footage and narration that skipped over what had actually happened. Viewers immediately noticed the cut. Social media exploded with questions. Why had the footage been removed? What did the team find that couldn't be shown?
Some fans claimed they caught a glimpse of something glowing in the raw footage before it was pulled offline, a faint blue light deep within the tunnel. Others said the sound engineers had captured a low humming noise, like machinery running in the distance. Whether these claims were true or not, the fact remained. Discovery Channel had gone silent, and so had the team. Rick and Marty refused to comment publicly, and that silence spoke louder than words. Whatever had been found under the swamp was not ordinary. Workers who stayed behind after filming began to report strange events. Tools malfunctioned for no reason. GPS systems lost their signal whenever they neared the center of the swamp. Metal detectors would go off even when nothing metallic was in sight. One worker claimed that while digging, he heard a deep mechanical vibration, like a motor turning slowly beneath the ground. Another said that at times he felt the ground tremble faintly under his feet, as if something below was stirring. Within days, 2 crew members quit the project. Officially, it was for personal reasons, but others believed they left out of fear. Soon, researchers and fans began to develop their own theories. Some suggested that the radar scans revealed an alien structure, possibly a long-buried craft or base hidden for centuries. Others believed it was an ancient man-made vault built to protect something sacred. The Templar theory gained new traction, especially after a photo surfaced online showing a cross-shaped symbol carved into a nearby stone. The carving resembled an emblem often associated with Freemasonry and the Knights Templar. If true, it would mean the swamp might have been a deliberate disguise, a man-made swamp created to hide whatever lies beneath. Then came another twist, the discovery of an old hand-drawn map of Oak Island from the 1700s. The map, found in a private collection, showed a detailed outline of the island and a circle drawn precisely around the swamp area. Even centuries ago, someone had marked this location as significant. But why? And how did they know something was buried there long before any modern tools could detect it? As the evidence piled up, the mystery deepened. Historians began to re-examine old stories, suggesting that Oak Island was never a simple island at all, but perhaps part of a much larger ancient network, a site used by travelers who crossed the ocean long before Columbus. Some even suggested that the underground structure might be connected to biblical history. According to one theory, the vault beneath the swamp could contain not gold or jewels, but the Ark of the Covenant, the sacred chest described in the Bible that held the 10 Commandments and was said to radiate immense divine power. The idea sounded impossible, yet certain clues began to fit. The dimensions of the underground chamber matched ancient proportions used in biblical temples. And in one chilling coincidence, when the team measured the layout of the tunnels, they found it mirrored the pattern of a massive cross. If the Ark of the Covenant was truly buried beneath Oak Island, it would mean that the Knights Templar, who were rumored to have possessed it, may have hidden it here after fleeing persecution in Europe. The swamp would have been the perfect cover, remote, isolated, and impenetrable. But if this theory is true, it also raises a terrifying question. Could the strange magnetic and electronic disturbances be signs that something inside the vault is still active? The Ark was said to contain an energy so powerful it could strike down anyone who touched it. And now, after centuries, could that energy still be alive, pulsing beneath the mud of Oak Island? Just when speculation reached its peak, new reports emerged claiming that the Canadian government had intervened. Excavation work was halted, security around the island increased, and media access was quietly restricted.
Journalists trying to approach the site were turned away. Officials said the restrictions were for safety reasons, but many believed it was something far more secretive. Theories spread like wildfire that the government had discovered something too sensitive to reveal. Maybe the vault contained evidence of an ancient advanced civilization or even technology that could rewrite human history. Whatever it was, the island went dark. For the first time in years, Oak Island fell silent. Rick and Marty's reaction to all of this only deepened the mystery. Normally open and transparent, they now avoided interviews. When asked about the North Swamp discovery, Rick's only words were, "We have disturbed something that was probably sleeping for centuries." Marty, usually the skeptic, looked visibly shaken. "What we saw, we cannot describe," he said, "and maybe we should not." Those who knew them said both men had been changed by what they found. Some crew members claimed Rick left the island for a time, while Marty temporarily stopped the project altogether. Their faces said more than any statement ever could. But perhaps the most shocking part came from the scientists monitoring the magnetic field around the site. They detected an anomaly unlike anything recorded before, a constant, rhythmic fluctuation suggesting an active power source deep underground. The readings were so intense that they caused nearby compasses and digital sensors to fail. The geophysicist in charge said it felt as if something turned on. That simple phrase sent chills through the team. What could possibly still be functioning beneath the ground after hundreds or even thousands of years? Was it an ancient machine, a buried artifact emitting energy, or something entirely beyond human understanding? If this energy source truly exists, it could mean that the swamp is sitting above a vast engineered system, something designed with purpose, precision, and intelligence far ahead of its time. And if it's still active, perhaps it's reacting to human interference. Perhaps whatever was buried there was meant to stay hidden and has now been awakened. Whatever the truth may be, the discovery beneath the North Swamp has changed the story of Oak Island forever. The evidence suggests that this isn't just a tale about buried treasure anymore. It's about something older, deeper, and infinitely more mysterious. Something that might connect human history, lost civilizations, and perhaps even forces we still don't understand. The North Swamp, once dismissed as useless land, could now be the key to one of the greatest mysteries ever uncovered. And as the island falls silent again, one question remains: what lies beneath, and should it ever be brought to the surface? The strange discovery spread. The atmosphere around Oak Island began to change. For years, this place had been filled with excitement, the thrill of discovery, and the constant hope of finding treasure. But now, there was a new feeling in the air. Something heavier, something more mysterious. Locals living near the island started reporting unusual activity. Fishermen said their compasses no longer worked properly when they sailed near the North Swamp. Some said their radios picked up strange static, as if a signal was being broadcast from beneath the ground. Others swore they saw faint flashes of light coming from the swamp at night, though there was no sign of fire or electricity anywhere nearby. Soon, the island was no longer just a site of exploration. It had become a zone of fear and secrecy. The excavation team, though sworn to silence, couldn't hide the growing unease they felt. One worker described feeling an invisible vibration under his boots, like the earth itself was humming. Another said that when he tried to record the sound, his phone shut off completely. When technicians reviewed the data from the GPR and magnetometers, they noticed something even more bizarre. The readings weren't constant. They pulsed, as if whatever was below the swamp was producing waves of energy, almost like a heartbeat. The experts could not explain it. Natural geological activity didn't behave like that. The only explanation that made sense was artificial. that something mechanical or engineered was operating deep below the mud. But how could that be possible? The structure was estimated to be centuries old. No one from that time had the technology to build such a precise underground system, let alone something that could still function today. Rick and Marty decided to bring in a team of independent scientists to double-check the readings. The geophysicists who arrived were skeptical at first, but after only a few hours on site, their doubts began to fade. They confirmed that the magnetic readings were real. The frequencies detected didn't match anything in nature. It was as if a machine buried deep underground had suddenly switched on. The scientists also discovered something else. The interference wasn't just affecting tools and sensors. It was affecting people.
Members of the crew reported dizziness, headaches, and nausea after spending time near the swamp. When they stepped away, the symptoms disappeared. Theories began to spin faster than ever before. Was this an ancient energy device? A forgotten power source left behind by an unknown civilization? Some claimed it could be related to the same type of mysterious technology believed to exist in places like the Egyptian pyramids or the ruins of Pumapunku in Bolivia. Structures that show impossible levels of precision, even by modern standards. The connection seemed wild, but the facts couldn't be ignored. The underground design beneath Oak Island was perfect, geometrically aligned, and completely unnatural. Then came the discovery that changed everything once again. When researchers analyzed the layout of the tunnels revealed by GPR, they noticed that their alignment matched an ancient star pattern, specifically the constellation of Orion. This same pattern has been found in some of the world's most mysterious ancient sites, such as the Giza pyramids. The idea that an identical alignment could exist beneath a swamp in Nova Scotia was almost unbelievable. If this was true, it suggested that whoever created this structure had knowledge of astronomy and geometry far beyond what was thought possible for the time. But that raised a terrifying question. Who built it? And how did they know? Historians went back to old records, trying to find any hint of construction on Oak Island before the 1700s, but nothing matched. No settlers, no explorers, no builders. It was as if the underground structure had simply appeared, hidden under layers of time and mud. A few researchers pointed toward the legend of the Templar Knights once more. They were known for their secret knowledge, their engineering skills, and their mysterious disappearance after the Crusades. Could the Templars have brought their knowledge and possibly their sacred artifacts across the ocean and buried them here, sealing them beneath the swamp? Some even believed that this structure was a vault to protect the Ark of the Covenant, not just from discovery, but from misuse. If the Ark truly held divine energy, it could explain the strange electromagnetic disturbances and the fear that gripped the crew. The Bible itself describes how those who touched the Ark without permission would be struck down. Could that same power still be active after all these centuries? As these theories spread, more strange things began to happen. Drones flying over the swamp lost connection and crashed without warning. Metal samples taken from the edge of the site showed traces of an unknown alloy, one that didn't match any known metal composition. When scientists attempted to analyze it, their instruments couldn't identify the exact mix of elements. The results were labeled as inconclusive. At this point, the situation was becoming too big to ignore. The Canadian authorities officially stepped in, citing safety and environmental reasons. But people close to the team claimed there was more to it. Unmarked vehicles began to appear near the island. Security tightened. Visitors were turned away, and even supply deliveries were restricted. The once open and public dig had suddenly become a closed operation. Reporters tried to question local officials, but every inquiry was met with the same response: no comment. The silence was deafening, and yet it spoke volumes. Behind the scenes, rumors began to spread among insiders. Some said the government had sent a classified scientific team to examine the swamp's magnetic field.
Others believed the military had taken an interest, concerned that the anomaly could be related to some form of ancient weapon or energy device. There were even claims that satellite images of Oak Island were being blurred out in certain online maps. Rick and Marty, now bound by confidentiality agreements, were forced to remain quiet. But people close to them noticed how much they had changed. Rick, once filled with determination and hope, now spoke less about finding treasure and more about respecting what lies beneath. Marty, always the rational thinker, seemed deeply conflicted. He reportedly told a close friend, "There were things we don't understand, and maybe we're not supposed to." The longer the silence continued, the louder the speculation became. Was the structure beneath the North Swamp an ancient vault created to protect humanity from something dangerous? Or was it a remnant of a lost civilization, forgotten
by time but still holding the power it once had? Meanwhile, sensors left running overnight continued to record strange data. Temperature fluctuations, sudden magnetic spikes, and faint vibrations deep below the surface, as if something was shifting slowly under the mud. One reading showed a consistent, rhythmic pulse every 41 seconds. The geophysicist who reviewed it called it unnerving because it resembled the electrical signature of a running engine. But no known machinery was anywhere near the site. As if the mystery wasn't deep enough, local residents began reporting seeing strange lights above the swamp late at night, glowing orbs that hovered in silence, then disappeared within seconds. While some dismissed these as drones or tricks of light, others were convinced they were connected to whatever was buried below. A few eyewitnesses claimed the lights always appeared when digging resumed, as if responding to the disturbance. Soon, the story of Oak Island's North Swamp took a darker turn. Several workers who had left the project started speaking anonymously. They said they had seen things that made no sense: shadows moving beneath the water, machines failing without reason, and the unsettling feeling that they were being watched. One even claimed he saw a faint glow beneath the surface one night, as if something alive was breathing below the swamp. When Rick was later asked if he believed something supernatural was involved, he paused for a long time before replying, "I don't know what to believe anymore." Experts from around the world began to weigh in. Some thought the readings could be caused by natural magnetic minerals beneath the earth. Others argued the data proved intelligent design. A few brave researchers went so far as to suggest that Oak Island might sit on top of an ancient power grid, a network of energy lines known as ley lines, said to connect sacred sites around the world. According to that theory, whoever built the structure beneath the swamp may have tapped into this natural energy source thousands of years ago, using it to power or protect whatever lies below. The deeper scientists tried to study the swamp, the stranger it became. Instruments would fail, cameras would record static, and even basic compasses refused to point north. It was as if an invisible field was blocking every attempt to reveal the swamp's secrets, by time but still holding the power it once had. Meanwhile, sensors left running overnight continued to record strange data. Temperature fluctuations, sudden magnetic spikes, and faint vibrations deep below the surface, as if something was shifting slowly under the mud. One reading showed a consistent, rhythmic pulse every 41 seconds. The geophysicist who reviewed it called it unnerving because it resembled the electrical signature of a running engine. But no known machinery was anywhere near the site. As if the mystery wasn't deep enough, local residents began reporting seeing strange lights above the swamp late at night, glowing orbs that hovered in silence, then disappeared within seconds. While some dismissed these as drones or tricks of light, others were convinced they were connected to whatever was buried below. A few eyewitnesses claimed the lights always appeared when digging resumed, as if responding to the disturbance. Soon, the story of Oak Island's North Swamp took a darker turn. Several workers who had left the project started speaking anonymously. They said they had seen things that made no sense: shadows moving beneath the water, machines failing without reason,
and the unsettling feeling that they were being watched. One even claimed he saw a faint glow beneath the surface one night, as if something alive was breathing below the swamp. When Rick was later asked if he believed something supernatural was involved, he paused for a long time